This is a little late, but for triumphing all 3 nights on hard mode at the Null and Void event, you get the Warlock Tower, and today I'll be going over it, specifically its stats and etc. Now let's begin. Before we get to the stats though, Warlock has 2 different types of attacks, being ranged and melee, so I'll be mentioning range and melee at once, like this. Level 0 costs a total of 4,200 cash, their melee attacks do 50 damage, 25 AoE damage, a swing rate of 2.008, a range of 7, a max hit of 2, and a minimum DPS of 37.35, and a maximum DPS of 49.8, so an average DPS of 43.58, which I'll be saying. The ranged attacks do 25 damage, a fire rate of 1.108, a range of 19, and a DPS of 22.56. And no, I'm not combining the DPS of both melee and range. Level 1 costs a total of 6,700 cash. Their melee attacks does 85 damage, 40 AoE damage, a swing rate of 2.08, a range of 7, a max hit of 2, and an average DPS of 72.21. The ranged attacks do 40 damage, a fire rate of 1.108, a range of 20, and a DPS of 36.1. Level 2 costs a total of 13,500 cash. Their melee attacks do 150 damage, 60 AoE damage, a swing rate of 2.008, a range of 7.5, and a max hit rate of 2, and an average DPS of 119.52. The range attacks do 60 damage, a fire rate of 0.808, a range of 23, a knockback force of 20, and a DPS of 74.26. Level 3 costs a total of 22,500 cash. The melee attacks do 250 damage, 115 AoE damage, a swing rate of 1.808, a range of 7.5, a max hit rate of 2, and an average DPS of 233.69. The range attacks do 115 damage, a range of 0.808, a range of 23, a knockback force of 22.5, and a DPS of 142.33. Level 4 costs a total of 44,000 cash. The melee attacks do 400 damage, 200 AoE damage, a swing rate of 1.808, a bleed damage of 2, a bleed stack of 3, an EV of 0.28, whatever that is, a max stack of 40, a max hit of 3, and an average DPS of 442.48. The range attacks do 200 damage, a fire rate of 0.758, a range of 24, a knockback force of 30, and a DPS of 263.85. Lastly, level 5 costs a total of 72,000 cash. The melee attacks do 750 damage, an AoE damage of 260, a swing rate of 1.808, a bleed damage of 2, a bleed stack of 6, an EV of 0.28, a max stack of 40, a range of 9, a max hit of 3, and an average DPS of 702.44. The range attacks do 260 damage, a fire rate of 0.608, a range of 26, a knockback force of 37.5, and a DPS of 427.63. Oh, and side note, if the Warlock hits 2 enemies with its melee attack, the DPS goes from 702.44 to 774.36. As we can see, Warlock is a late game tower, with it being very expensive but also having a bunch of DPS. Majority of its DPS comes from melee though, so the DPS does vary, along with the fact that the melee damages multiple enemies at once, makes it a double vary. Let's compare it to a different DPS tower, Accelerator, which has 63.55 less DPS than Warlock. But it does have double the placement, being 8, while Warlock's placement limit is 4. 4 Warlocks, while only counting the range attack, does 1,710 by 50 DPS, although this does scale a lot, while Accelerator has a total DPS of 2,912.64. This means Accelerator has more DPS by 1,202.12. But once again, this does vary. Even with Warlock being strong, it does have its flaws. Let's say that there's an enemy in the Warlock's melee range and one in the Warlock's ranged range. Warlock will attack the enemy in the melee range, even if the enemy in the outer range is in front, which causes some unreliability, making it strictly a sub-DPS tower and unable to be used as a main DPS tower, with a tower needed to clean up its leaks. In my opinion though, he's a strong and amazing tower. No matter his flaws, I'll bring him to every single game until there's a better option to take his place, because I did not suffer 20 losses in night 3 for nothing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this analysis on the Warlock Tower. If you did enjoy, let me know. Have a good day or night, and goodbye.